Welcome to Global Morning.
The death toll from flooding.
Most time our politicians just bring in policies too, for sure.
Incidentally, we have several more stories.
The legislature was carefully crafted to
22.2% inflation rate as of April this year. What does that say about where we are as a country?
I think Nigeria has resorted to being resilient.
Before you call the police station, before they even leave, they'll take permission from
I don't think there's really anything on ground to improve.
the struggle, the ASU strike.
You have done their work and put us to the wall. We are not the slaves.
I'm not a small boy. You should have given me the report. I have not seen the report.
An eventful week it was, and of course, here the wrap up on Friday, your Global Morning at Global Television, where it's a pleasure to welcome you this morning for joining and connecting with us on the program. We'll be taking a look at some interesting stories and, of course, adding perspective to already events that occurred during the course of the week. My name is Adikat Michael, and of course, I'm not just here alone. I'm with my colleague,
Queen Agaba. Good morning.
Good morning, Queen. Yeah, of course, it has been a very eventful week so far. Several stories, but a bit to wrap up what is actually happening is the fact that the president is in Netherlands as we speak to you. And he made some statement when he was meeting with European Union yesterday. He said, I'm taking tough policy decisions in the people's interest. I mean, when you look at some of the policies the president is making so far, it has been a tough one. And he has actually admonished the fact that it's actually tough on Nigerians from fuel subsidy removal, the issues of electricity tariff and all of that. And these are what Nigerians are still struggling to survive with. What has been your experience so far, from what these tough policies have been able to look like?
True. From the tough policies, we hope that these policies, even as he put it in his speech in Netherlands, that they are tough. They are truly, really tough. If you have to ask an average Nigerian, what it is like, they'll tell you from the increase in electricity tariff, from fuel prices and all of that. We even see now that the Naira is gaining strength, but it's really not reflecting in the prices of goods and services as well as commodities. But like he said, even in his inaugural speech, that these steps that we're going to take are going to be difficult, but the difficult times won't last.
Yeah.
I want to believe that that is what we're saying, and as he rightly promised, Nigeria will get better, and these tough policies will ensure that the economy is stable. I
mean, if further made that you continue to take these difficult decisions that will benefit Nigerians, even if there is a short-term, pain, he has actually acknowledged that fact. We've gone through the worst of the storms. I'm quoting the words of the president yesterday. I am unafraid of the consequences once I know that my actions are in the best long-term interest of all Nigerians. The Nigerian Naira is one of the world's best performing currencies today. We took the necessary risks and all resilient Nigerians kept faith with us. They will be rewarded, and the reward will only be greater as we partner effectively with you and new opportunities for development. When I look at this speech yesterday, it reflects the fact that I just want a government that communicates. A government that are responsible for their actions and of course also being able to communicate, speaking out the engagement with the Nigerians and all of this. This has never been before. When you look at the last administration, they take decisions, sometimes the CBN do this and all of that. No explanation to actions. But the president is owning up to the fact that, yes, this is what I have to do. This is the part I have to go. For us to be able to have better days ahead. And the fact that opportunities will always come if these are, when you look at Naira from 1,700 to in the dollar, and today we actually still operating within a 1,100 or 200 thereabout. This is a bit of reformations by the CBN. And these reformations we just want to continue because Nigerians just want lives to be better. It has been a very crazy and tough time. And he went further to say, as leaders, we must make decisions for the benefit of our nation. And we cannot shy away from that. He expressed firm commitment to the developmental partnership between Nigeria and the European Union. 70% of our people are under the age of 30, and when we're referring to 200 million plus citizens, it represents both a massive workforce and a massive market and other for international investors. Look at the statistics of young people in the country. We understand that many people want to jackpot. Everybody feels that there's a space out there to thrive. What has been the experience about issue of people trying to migrate from the country? Because every day when you look at this, the reports coming in from the UK and US, high level of Nigerians are trying to leave the country. Is that a way forward so far?
Before I even comment on that, if you go to the airport right now, you see that, or in the Nigerian embassy, you see the long queues day in, day out. But first of all, I want to commend the president for being open and for communicating. You know, communication is the bedrock of leadership. If you're not communicating, your people, the people that you lead, your followers would not understand what it is you're doing per time. And as opposed to the former administration where there was no little, or we literally begged, you know, for the president to weigh in into critical matters, pivotal matters of national concern. But this, we see that the government is taking responsibility. I must commend that, in as much as I would attest to the hardships that Nigerians are facing, the promises that comes and sometimes yet unfulfilled as regards the past administration and as we see recently. But I must commend the government for communicating per time as regards issues that are pertinent and, you know, of national concern. And as regards the Japa syndrome, I want to believe that, you know, the Japa has always been there right from the time of the former administration, and even the administration before the former administration that we just had. Nigerians have been, and this is most likely attributed to the fact that there's hardship. People are asking for better living. People are asking for better terms, better working condition, better educational system. On top of it is insecurity. People are asking that even if you have the money, you have you're stable financially in Nigeria, the fact that anything can happen in the twinkle of an eye and there's no regulation, you're not protected, your business can be affected. Everything you own you can lose it in a twinkle of an eye is one of the major reasons why I think people are leaving, and young Nigerians particularly are leaving for a better life and to secure their future, because they feel all hope is lost. They've lost hope in the administration. But with what the president is doing, he's reassuring, trying to reassure young Nigerians that yes, he's doing a whole lot of things for Nigerians.
A very fantastic approach by the presidency and response, and of course in his visit to Netherlands. We expect that investors will not just be scared of coming in to invest in the country, but will also be able to partner with the federal government to bring sustainable development in the country. Nigeria is a blessed country, and we can only hope for the better, because, I mean, this is the only country that we have. I'm sounding like a patriotic Nigerian. This is the only country that we have, so we have to protect it and, of course, see what we can do. I mean, let's take your mind back to yesterday, the fact that it was a World Malaria Day 2024. I mean, when you look at the fact that the statistics coming in has been high, I mean, when you look at the fact that the tablet is also costly in the country, when we begin to ask, that was the only, tablets where Nigerians were able to afford prior to this time at about 500 now, about 600 and but if you go to the pharmacies, ask of any tablet of malaria, it's actually the high side. Don't you feel that this is the only disease that we are battling with, and then it's on the high
expensive, it's on the high side? I can attest to this because a few days ago, barely a week now, I fully recovered from malaria, and I had the cause to walk into a pharmacy to ask for malaria drug, and I was shocked because, you know, how the prices of drugs, you know, that should be essential especially because we know that it's been a long time coming. We've been battling with malaria here in Africa. I walked into the pharmacy and the price really, you know, made me open my mouth. So it is, and then I wonder how it is for an average Nigerian, not even an average Nigerian, a Nigerian that is out in the streets, you know, exposed. These people, these are the ones that are exposed. They are prone to malaria. Those that sleep under the bridges, those that, you know, are in very slums and all of that in the city. They're exposed to, you know, viruses and mosquitoes that can cause malaria and all of that. And they would always need to or have to take anti-malaria drugs. When they walk up to the pharmacy or walk into a pharmacy or a store, and, you know, the prices, you can attest to the fact that the number of people that die from malaria, especially now with all of the awareness and all of, you know, that is going on, is alarming. And I think that some sort of subsidy should be done in the area of drugs for Nigerians,
a very welcoming one there, because when you begin to look at the fact that this is what Nigerians are battling with, and when you go to the hospitals, hospitals are not well positioned. I mean, in the health sectors, responsive are not strong enough. So we can only make the fact that a tablet like that of malaria can be a bit affordable for Nigerians because it is about justice. I mean, when you look at the fact that the theme for this year's one was health equity, gender, and human rights. So it has to be that we have to fight malaria, all of us. So it's not issues about the rich, the poor, and all of that. Everybody has to have equal, treatment towards having access to drugs like that of malaria for the treatment. Because when you look at the fact that this is a common one among Nigerians, where we were battling it for many years, and of course we're still battling. I feel government must begin to pay attention to these, and of course, just as Queen said, if subsidizing that can be the way forward, please do, because I can't actually imagine where a family of 5 and 6, up to 10, sometimes family of 8, how they able to treat malaria. Sometimes some people's zone has been coming monthly. Some people are lucky, depends on your white blood cell and how strong it is to resist the malaria. But in all that, it has been a tough battle for many families, having to face high cost of food in the market and also health. Everywhere is actually hot for Nigerians. And we can only appeal that things are beginning to work better. We'll take some package reporting stories for you this morning. I don't know, the one Queen will be calling for you first, but let's take a look at it.
Let's look at what Fatime has for us in taste and texture.
Hello and welcome to another savory episode on Taste and Texture. I'm Fatime Aboma. Today we'll be making yet another popular and delicious soup you definitely want to try at home, the bitter leaf soup. Bitter leaf soup is arguably one of the most popular soup recipes from eastern Nigeria. This delicious Nigerian soup is packed full of flavor, hearty, and quite filling too. Bitter leaf soup, also known as Ofe Onugbo in Anambra State, Nigeria, is a delicious traditional food made with bitter leaves. Onugbo in Igbo language. This soup is rich in flavor. Although bitter appears in the name, bitter leaf soup is one of the sweetest local delicacies loved by Igbos. Traditionally called Ofe Onugbo or Onugbo soup. Bitter leaf soup is one of the few soups that is traditionally eaten during Igbo cultural festivals. You bet it is prepared in a special way that makes it that bitter leaf soup. Now let me teach you how this special delicacy is prepared. Now you need these ingredients for making bitter leaf soup. 2 kg assorted meat, bitter leaf washed to desire, half cup of ground crayfish, seasoning cubes, dry fish, 2 medium size, stock fish, 1 big head, palm oil, 25 cl, salt and pepper to taste. Cocoyam pounded, half cup of offal, alternative thickener. And now to the bitter leaf soup preparation. To soften the leaves and further remove the bitter taste, it's advisable to boil alone in ordinary water for 10 to 15 minutes. Most people like to add a little quantity of edible potash to hasten it. Boil again alone and wash thoroughly with the water to remove every trace of the potash. Step 2. Parboil meat with every necessary ingredient. Use 2 seasoning cubes, a teaspoon of salt, and a half cup of onions. Allow to boil for 10 minutes, then add water and cook till the meat is tender. Step 3. Add hot water, wash dry fish, stock fish, and cook until it's tender. Add more water, then add palm oil, ground crayfish, pepper, seasoning salt, and pepper to taste. Stir and allow to boil at this point. It should give a good soupy taste, even though it's a bit watery. Step 4. Ground egusi if you choose to make bitter leaf with egusi soup. Also add ogiri now. Cook till cocoyam dissolves. This will likely take like 10 minutes. You can add a teaspoon of offal if the soup is not thickened enough. Step 5. Then add bitter leaves. Stir, taste, and add more salt if necessary. Then cook for 2 to 3 minutes, and then you are done with making the Nigerian bitter leaf soup. That's all for now. See you same time next time for another amazing episode of Taste and Texture. Bye.
Delicacy put together by Fatime. Michael, I want to weigh into your options for breakfast. Would you like to have soups for breakfast, or the very typical English breakfast, which is your go-to any day, anytime? Or are you a typical Nigerian man that will say, akpu this morning, fufu this morning? Or we've had quite a number of people say that no. I think breakfast should be something light, tea, bread, noodles, and all of that. While some other persons have come to say, no, I think I need something solid, something that defines my Nigerianness, you know, and indigenousness.
I mean, I could have actually shared with that perspective if things were better. I mean, where life was soft in the country. I mean, it works better in other climes where life are actually really soft. But when you look at the fact that we're facing a whole lot in the country, I mean, you still imagining the fact that you have to do extra. I mean, every day you have to do extra. So you need to eat something so extra enough. And then to me, I share with those people behind Akpu and all of that in the morning because, well, it's just about how you feel. Sometimes in the morning you can actually be able to do that without eating. But to me, there is no separation to what I may be able to take in the morning, either light stuff or heavy stuff. But I can actually go for heavy stuff because I have a whole lot to deal with in the country. Really look at the economic reality today. So, and of course, some people are doing this what they call 1-1-0 and 101 and all of that. I mean, many families today are doing 0-0-0-1-0. I mean, that's what people are eat only once in a day, and then some people actually eat twice in a day. So when you look at the fact that so you have to eat what you feel can sustain you to a particular hour of the day. To me,
so I don't know how many of our the people watching are like Michael, who think that you need something as heavy as the hardship that we face in Nigeria. And I know this sounds funny, but it's quite sad that people cannot afford 3 square meal, like you rightly put it. They have to go, they're doing breakfast. It's that they're doing breakfast and they're not doing lunch, and they're doing dinner, or they're doing breakfast and they're not doing lunch and dinner. 100 or 101. It's sad, and we hope that, measures like the president has said and the government is working are put in place to ensure that this hardship is alleviated and the Nigerians can survive, can have basic needs such as food, clothing, and shelter.
All right. Now, I mean, away from that, let's take a look at the world of business. So many events are actually happening in the world of business. CBN making reforms and, of course, fighting and talking about recapitalizations in the bank and all of that. This is actually very much interesting so far from the CBN and the world impacting business and economy in the country. Let's join our correspondent of business, Kikole Mokere, for Business Report.
Hello and welcome to Business Report on Global Morning. The latest data from the Central Bank of Nigeria reveals the extent of the dollar supply shortage as Nigerians grapples with one of the worst currency depreciation in the recent years. The data published in the CBN annual bulletin shows that only $9.8 billion was supplied by the Central Bank of Nigeria through the official investors and exports window for the entire 2023. This figure is the lowest dollar supply recorded since 2017, a year when Nigeria faced a similar foreign currency crisis. In 2017, the Central Bank of Nigeria supplied $9.3 billion to the official segment of the market as dollar inflow dried up following a decrease in crude oil proceeds. Some of Nigerian leading companies incurred a combined forex losses of 1.8 trillion naira in the financial year 2023. This is according to information contained in the financial statement of these companies. The size and magnitude of the loss were so significant that it effectively wiped out the shareholders' funds of some companies, forcing mega restructuring for others. The staggering losses were triggered by the devaluation of Naira following the Tinubu's administration forex unification policy launched in June 2023. Following a series of devaluation, the Naira closed the year at an official exchange rate of 907 Naira to a dollar compared to 461 Naira to a dollar at the start of the year. This led to a massive foreign currency losses incurred by most Nigerian businesses with dollar-denominated obligation when translated in local currency. According to data, the losses cut across several sectors such as consumer goods, telecommunication, and cement production. Since the start of April 2024, the Nigerian stock market has been a bearish run, with all share index declining by 6.16% and the market capitalization falling by 3.63 trillion naira within the same period. The Nigerian Exchange Limited closed with an all-share index of 98,121.3 points, in contrast with the 104,562.06 points by the start of the market in April. In terms of the market capitalization, the NGX closed with a market cap of 55.49 trillion naira, in contrast with 59.12 trillion naira at the start of the month. However, the massive loss incurred in the NGX this month has been offset by the impressive gain produced in the market in the first quarter of 2024. Kike Lomo Okeri, Global Television News.
Because the space and duration the CBN gave to banks, and of course to come back stronger, a situation whereby you go hard, or you go home, and come hard or you go home. Putting it together where you begin to understand that Nigerians, investment must be secured. This was in a bid to actually promote that so far with the bank. What has been your perceived effort by the CBN so far, from your perspective?
I think it's a good move, yes, but a lot of us have argued the authenticity of the process, you know, how genuine, what measures are in place, who is monitoring the process to ensure that this recapitalization is done fairly and there's no, way out or, gray areas. But I know for sure that we've seen this happen as the case in 2009, recapitalization, just to stabilize the economy, and how effective that was. And we hope that this is going to ensure that some of the loopholes in the banking sectors are covered. There's better regularization of banks and all of that. That the investment of Nigerians and investors are secured. And there's no there are no excesses when it comes to these bank issues. But our question now is, how secured is this going to be? Is this process, or how transparent is this process going to be? As we already see now that investors are losing trillions, sadly. But we hope that banks should be able to come together to form mergers and be whole, to give us better accountability and come stronger, like we see happen as a case of Oshoni Bank and the like. So I think it's a good move by the CBN to ensure that the banking sector is well regulated.
Yeah, a fantastic move. We just hope for the best that the CBN are doing this for the betterment of the country. We've had a CBN of last undergoing MFLA messing up with Nigerians with some of the policies that we are still actually have to face a whole lot today. But we just hope that the approach and, of course, the effort by this CBN on the Council will be for the best of Nigerians. And, of course, Nigerians are very much are ready to applaud when you do the best. Away from business, let's take a look at what is happening in the world of sport. Some development so far. Anthony Mamadou has a report for you this morning.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to Sports News Update. Enzo Fernandez will miss the remainder of the Premier League season after undergoing surgery to address a groin injury in time for Copa America. According to Argentine outlet Ole, the Chelsea midfielder has been suffering from hernia, a problem that affects the groin region between the lower abdomen and the thigh, for over a month. The World Cup winner will undergo surgery and is expected to be out of action for approximately 3 weeks before returning in time for the Copa America, which kicks off on June 20th in the United States. Chelsea medical staff initially sought to address the issue with a non-invasive procedure, but after consulting with Argentina's team doctors, it became apparent Fernandez would require surgery. And with the Blue season effectively over after they were knocked out of the FA Cup on Saturday, all parties agreed that the best course of action for the 23-year-old would be to undergo treatment before the Copa America. Jurgen Klopp apologized for Liverpool's abject performance in their first Merseyside derby defeat at Goodison Park since 2010, with Captain Van Dijk saying Reds players need to take a look in the mirror. Everton were deserved winners in the complete performance after goals from Gerard Braithwaite and Dominic Calvert-Lewin gave them a significant steps towards safety while putting a dagger into Liverpool's title hopes. Everton boss Van Dijk, meanwhile, was delighted with his team's display, one of the best of his tenure at Goodison Park. Liverpool are closing in on Arne Slot as they work on a deal with Feyenoord to make him their next manager. Anfield officials contacted the Dutch champions on Wednesday with a first offer of compensation for the 49-year-old who does not have a release clause in his contract. It is expected a fee of more than £10 million will be required to land Slot, who will look to bring a number of his staff with him, including assistant Skip K. Hochschaff. The situation is developing quickly, and talks to bring Slot to Anfield could even be concluded before the weekend. Maysport reported on Tuesday how Slot had emerged as Liverpool's preferred candidate to take over from Jurgen Klopp, who has 4 games left at the club. Slot, who was considered by both Tottenham and Chelsea last summer, has found immense success since joining the Dutch side in 2021 and has become one of the most progressive coaches in European football. Referees chief Howard Webb will hold peace talks with Nottingham Forest owners this week, at which the VAR audio of their 3 penalty appeals in Sunday's controversial defeat at Everton will be played to the club. Forest requested access to referee Anthony Taylor's conversations with VAR Stuart Atwell earlier this week, after criticizing the latter's appointment for the game at the Goodison Park on the grounds that he is a Luton fan, with refereeing body PGMOL happy to oblige. PGMOL's protocol is to make VAR audio available to any club that requests it, with Webb understood to be planning to play the recordings to Forest in an online meeting this week before their next game against Manchester City on Sunday. Webb will also speak to one of the Forest owners, Evangelos Makinakis, or minority shareholder Socrates Kouminakis, while depending on the team's training schedule, manager Nuno Espirito Santos may also be present. And that's how we call it a wrap on the Sports News Update. I am Anthony Momodu.
And that's it in the world of sport, as brought to you by Anthony Momodu. For the AM News, Michael Ediken will be here to walk you through. Stay with us. We'll be right back after this break.
On Global TV News, former Senate spokesperson Ayogweze dies at 66. Naira losses 0.64% against dollar at official market. MFL printed 684.5 million naira with 18.9 billion naira, says EFCC in fresh charge. At the foreign scene, UK Varsity offers Nigerians 44 million naira scholarships, and a Sports Niger wins ICC award. Hello and welcome to all of viewers in Nigeria and around the world to AM News here on Global Television. We're live in the nation's capital, Abuja. I'm Ediken Michael. Former Vice President of ECOWAS Court of Justice, Professor Nwoko Chijioke, has spoken out against the press conference organized by the Chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission in relation to his discussion with former Governor of Kogi State, Yahaya Bello. Professor Chijioke criticized the EFCC approach, denouncing it as an unfair trial and label it as media trial. Chijioke stressed on the importance of discretion in such matters, emphasizing that institutions of justice like the EFCC should conduct investigations discreetly without involving the media. The Federal Ministry of Health, the National Malaria Elimination Program, and the Rollback Malaria Partnership in Nigeria have joined the rest of the world to commemorate the 2024 World Malaria Day. In a ministerial press briefing and exhibition held in Abuja, the World Malaria Day celebration provides the opportunity for awareness creation on malaria and effort of governments and partners towards malaria elimination in Nigeria. Our correspondent Fauzia Lukman has the details.
Over the years, malaria has disappropriately affected the most vulnerable populations, namely pregnant women, in fact, children under 5 years of age, refugees, migrants, and internally displaced people, perpetuating cycles of poverty and inequity. The World Health Organization (WHO) have revealed that out of 249 million malaria cases in 85 malaria endemic countries, Nigeria contributes over 1.3 million increase in cases, and this makes it the #3rd contributor in the world for 2022. WHO African region shoulders the heaviest malaria burden with a contribution of 94% and 95% of malaria cases and deaths. WHO representatives in Nigeria, Dr. Walter Kazadi Mulumbu, who was represented by Dr. Alex Chimbaru, Deputy Country Representative, said fight against malaria is not just a health issue, it is a matter of social justice and human rights.
However, amidst the challenges, there is hope amongst ourselves, amongst the world. Together under the guidance of FMH and MEP, we have made remarkable strides in malaria control and prevention thanks to the tireless communities, dedicated individuals, as well as agencies who are supporting malaria eradication. Through robust surveillance, innovative interventions, and strengthened health systems, we have saved countless lives and reduced untold suffering.
In our goodwill message, United States Agency for International Development, USAID, Nigeria Deputy Director Sarah Watt says according to WHO, Nigeria has about 69 million cases of malaria in 2022. That is about 27% of the global malaria burden, adding that the President Malaria's Initiative PMI helped save over 10.6 million lives and prevented 1.7 billion malaria infections worldwide since 2000.
As the world's leading global health donor, the United States is committed to working with our partners to intensify efforts to end malaria. The World Health Organization estimates that Nigeria had nearly 67 million cases in 2022, accounting for 27% of the global malaria burden. Also in 2022, Nigeria accounted for 31% of global deaths and 38% of global deaths in children under the age of 5. Together with our partners, since 2000, the President's Malaria Initiative helped save over 10.6 million lives and prevented 1.7 billion malaria infections worldwide. In Nigeria, malaria deaths decreased from 194,000 in 2021 to 188,000 in 2022.
Speaking to journalists on strengthening the health system through interventions, Dr. Michael Adekunle of the RMB Partnership to End Malaria says it is crucial for infrastructure.
When we talk about malaria, when we talk about HIV, when we talk about TB, we need to make sure that all our interventions are really linked towards strengthening the health system. Strengthening the health system, will take care of the infrastructure, the data, the surveillance, as you said. So really our scope from a global perspective, working together with WHO, is how do we support our countries to be able to do that. And Nigeria is one of them, and that's what we will also be looking at in terms of really strengthening that data gathering.
Fauzia Lukman, reporting for Global TV News.
State Police Command said it's on the trial of a former chairman of Takum Lekki Government Council, Honorable Shiban Tigiri, over the alleged murder of late Honorable Ozie Ibi, former member representing Takum in the State Assembly. Ibio was kidnapped on December 30, 2017, was found dead at the old site of SCC Quarry along Takum Road in Takum local government area of the state. The body of the lawmaker was found 16 days after he was kidnapped by unknown gunmen from his house located opposite Adar Barracks in Takum area of the state. Those involved in the killing of the former lawmakers were arrested and prosecuted at the Taraba High Court presided by Justice Joel Ajah, where the convicts during cross-examination confessed that they were contracted by Tigiri to abduct the victim. The former Senate spokesperson Ayogo Eze has died at the age of 66. Eze represented the Enugu North Central District between 2007 and 2015. Passed away on Thursday in an Abuja hospital after suffering from an undisclosed illness. Eze is also one of the founding members of People's Democratic Party, was confirmed by the Senate in May 2023 as the Federal Commissioner for Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission may prosecute 300 forex racketeers trading on peer-to-peer platform outside the financial regulations. The FCC chairman Ola Aloyekunde gave this indication during an interactive program with editors and bureau chiefs in Abuja, revealed that accounts were frozen following a court order. It disclosed that one of the accounts traded over $15 billion in the past year. Recently, the federal government, through the Nigerian Communications Commission, blocked the online platforms of Binance and other crypto firms to advert to what it considered continuous manipulation of the forex market and illicit movement of funds. It also detained two senior executives of Binance, a cryptocurrency exchange, amidst effort by the government to rein in speculations on Naira by cracking down on cryptocurrency exchanges. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission has filed a fresh charge at the High Court of the Federal Capital Territory against the embattled former governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele. The FCC in the charge accused Emefiele of approving the printing of 684,590,000 naira at the rate of 18.96 billion naira. The FCC alleged that Emefiele broke the law with an intent to arm the public during his implementation of the naira swap policy of the administration of former President Muhammadu Buhari. The Anti-Graft Agency also accused Emefiele of unlawfully approving the withdrawal of 124.8 billion naira from the Consolidated Revenue Fund of the Federation. Insurance Corporation, NDIC, has inaugurated an anti-corruption and transparency at its headquarters in Abuja. Speaking at the inauguration, which was conducted by the officials of the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, Managing Director, Chief Executive of NDIC, Bello Hassan, said the corporation has a culture of zero tolerance for corruption, which is further strengthened by its core values of teamwork, respect and fairness, integrity, professionalism and passion. He explained that the specific measures include robust internal controls, regular risk assessment, and strict adherence to the regulatory guidelines and comprehensive training programs for employees. Now, the Nigerian Ports Consultative Council has expressed support for the single window project, calling for the quick implementation in order to improve ease of doing business in the nation. The state member, the chairman of the council, Balaji Sambola, said a project, when fully implemented, will not only increase the ease of doing business in Nigeria port, it will further assist the facilitation of trade in port and border port. Sambola stated that the council is ready to assist the implementation project by way of monitoring its progress and give necessary advisory support. Now, the Federal Airport Authority has said it has diverted all flight operations from the Murtala Mohammed Airport Terminal 1 to the D wing of the airport over a fire incident. FAN also added that the engineers at the airport have disconnected power from the entire E wing of the airport to quench the ravaging fire, which started around 5:29 a.m. on Thursday. According to a statement signed by the Director of Public Affairs and Consumer Protection, Obagile Ora, smoke which eventually turned into fire had erupted from the E54 bridge. FAN, together with the Airport Rescue and Firefight Services team, were said to have restored calm in the area after some airport staff and travelers took to their heels. And fewer than 119 inmates of the Medium Security Custodial Center at Suleja, Niger State, have escaped following hours of heavy downpour which destroyed part of the facility on Wednesday night. Spokesman of the Federal Capital Territory FCT Command of the Nigeria Correctional Service, Adamu Odoza, disclosed this in a statement. According to him, the service had immediately activated its recapturing mechanism in conjunction with sister security agencies, has so far recaptured 10 fleeing inmates and taken them into custody, which still in the house chest to recapture the rest. Now, the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority has suspended the air operator certificate of Dana Air. This came barely 24 hours after Dana Air plane coming from Abuja landed at the Lagos Airport runway and veered off into a nearby field. Dana Air plane with registration number 5NBKI had 83 passengers on board. However, all the passengers and crew members disembarked unhurt. It later signed by the acting director of NCAA, Chris Nyago, said that the airline had been suspended while awaiting the investigation report from the Nigerian Safety Investigation Bureau. He said it had initiated an in-house compliance assessment of the occurrence, taking into account Dana's track record in related occurrences. Nigeria and 15 other countries have been boosted with $36.5 billion in new funding to eliminate trachoma in their countries. The country director of Site Savers, Dr. Joy Shaibu, an international development organization, made this known in a statement in Abuja. Trachoma, according to the news agency of Nigeria, is a neglected tropical disease which begins as a bacterial infection that affects the eye and causes vision loss and permanent blindness. Shaibu said the funding was under its Accelerate program aimed at eliminating the disease by 2027. You're watching AM News here on Global Television 1, Star Times, Channel 276. Kindly follow us on all social media platforms using our Global TV NG and other handles now shown on the screen. When AM News returns, fund divert flight operations as fire break out at Lagos Airport. These and other top stories coming right after this break. Do stay with us. Live broadcasts of AM News on Global Television. Many times for stay with us. On the foreign scene, U.S. President Joe Biden says his country will start sending fresh weapons and equipment to Ukraine within days. The U.S. Senate approved a $95 billion and €76 billion foreign exchange aid package that includes military support for Israel and Taiwan as well as Ukraine. Biden vowed to end it off as soon as it reaches his desk on Wednesday. Said the aid can be sent this week. Ukraine had recently stepped up its calls for Western assistance as Russia makes steady gains in its invasion. Included in the package is $61 billion in military aid for Ukraine. It passed the Senate in a bipartisan vote of 79 to 18. The world of business, the Federal Ministry of Finance has recovered over $57 billion from the $5.2 trillion debt owed by the ministries, department, and agencies to the federal government. The Director of Special Project, Federal Ministry of Finance, Aisha Umar, disclosed this in Enugu during a one-day workshop on the federal government's debt recovery drive through the project's Lighthouse program for the Southeast Zone. Declaring the event open, Umar, represented by the Deputy Director of Special Projects in the ministry, Brigette Maluku, revealed that the debt came to the spotlight from data aggregated from over 5,000 data across more than 93 MDRs. The Naira further depreciated at the official market, trading at 1,308.52 Naira to the dollar. Data from the official trading platform of the FMDQ exchange platform that oversees the Nigerian Autonomous Foreign Exchange Market revealed that the Naira lost 8.37 Naira. This represents a 0.64% loss when compared to the previous trading date on April 23rd, when it exchanged at 1,300.15 Naira to a dollar. Now the federal government recorded a 52.9% year-on-year increase in deficit spending to 12.86 trillion naira in 2023 from 8.41 trillion in 2022. The rise in deficit spending was driven by a 40.6% rise in expenditure, which moderated the impact of 20% increase in revenue during the review period. Following the same trend, expenditure rose to 18.83 trillion naira in 2023, representing 20.5% year-on-year increase from 13.39 trillion naira recorded in 2022. The federal government recorded the highest deficit spending of 1.68 trillion in March 2023. Now, the Corps Marshal of the Federal Road Safety Corps, Dauda Alibio, has said that a total of 33 persons died in 62 road traffic crashes during the year Easter celebration. Speaking during the press conference on the outcome of the 2024 Easter and Eid al-Fitr special patrol exploration that lasted from March 28 to April 2nd and April 8 to 13, 2024, respectively. The Corps Marshal said that during the 2024 Easter special patrol period, the Corps recorded 62 road traffic crashes. This is against 107 in the same period of 2023, representing 42% decrease. These crashes involved 417 people in 2024, in contrast with 705 in the previous year, also indicating a significant reduction of 40.9%. Analysis also shows that of the aforementioned crashes, the Corps also recorded reduction in fatalities as 33 victims were killed in 2024 against 81 killed in the same period in 2023. This represents 59.3% reduction. The House of Representatives has called for calm over the recent allegations of discrimination against Nigerians at a supermarket in Abuja operated by Chinese nationals, promising that it will get to the root of the matter and ensure redress when necessary. The lawmakers noted that Nigeria and China share a long-standing relationship characterized by mutual respect, cooperation, and friendship over the years, which has yielded many benefits for both countries. In a statement, John Lee Sambad, Chairman, House Committee on China-Nigeria Parliamentary Friendship Group, Rep. Jafaru Yakubu, and our spokesman, Chairman, House Committee on Media and Public Affairs, Honorable Akin Rotimi, the lawmakers said they believe in the importance of mutual respect and understanding between nations and House condemn any form of discrimination or prejudice. In the world of sports, Nigeria was announced as the winner of the International Cricket Council's Cricket Initiative of the Year 2023 in Africa with the PwC National Under-17 Championship, which has run for 5 years. The country was among the 21 nations celebrated by the ICC following another groundbreaking effort on and off of the field in the year under review. The Development Initiative of the Year award recognizes the outstanding development initiative delivered during the year, and regional winners include Nigeria's Cricket Federation, whose Under-17 Cricket Championship continues to provide competitive playing opportunities for boys and girls across the country. Nigeria and other regional winners from other continents will now be put forward for voting to determine the global awardees in each category. Now, former Super Eagles striker Odion Igala has dropped a cryptic retirement hint after saying he has no more than 3 years left in his football career. A 34-year-old joined Aguda last August from Al Hilal in the Saudi Pro League. Igala, a lead bloomer, made his senior debut for Nigeria in 2015 as the Eagles lost 1-0 to Uganda in a friendly. After an impressive outing at the 2019 African Cup of Nations in Tunisia, where he scored 5 goals in 7 games and led the Eagles to a third-place finish, Igalo announced his retirement from the national team. Now, France's record goal scorer Olivier Giroud has reached agreement with Los Angeles FC to join the Major League Soccer club this summer. It was reported last month that the AC Milan forward is going to join Major League Soccer on a free transfer on a contract until December 2025 and will join this summer after the expiration of his resume contract. The 37-year-old, whose contract with Italian club AC Milan expires at the end of the season, has committed to an 18-month deal with the Californian club starting on August 1st, according to report in France. This will be the 8th club that 2018 World Cup winner Giroud has played for over 2 decades. And for the second consecutive time in 2 months, the Super Eagles have seen their squad market value drop in their transfer market. Despite finishing second in the 2023 African Cup of Nations, Ivory Coast In February, the three-time African champions suffered a massive drop of 121 million euros, the first this year. They dropped down 2 steps and now rank the 15th most valuable international team in the world while retaining their positions as the most financially valuable team in Africa. And as we wrap up M News here on Global TV, let's take a look at the top stories. Former Senate spokesperson Ayogo Ezeda is at 60. Naira losses 0.64 against dollar at official market. MFLA printed 684.55 million naira with 18.9 billion naira, says EFCC in first charge. At the foreign scene, UK University offers Nigerians 44 million naira scholarships. And on sports, Nigeria wins ICC award. And that's the package on M News, coming to you live via Nigeria's capital, Abuja, on Star Times, channel 276. Kindly follow us on all social media platforms displayed on the screen. I'm Edikan Mike. Thanks for watching. I'll be right back by 8 for the newspaper review. Do stay with us. How many times for still stay with us on Global Morning? Glad to still have you join us on the program. We'll be taking a look at top stories in the Nigeria's newspaper this morning. What is the headline this morning? We'll begin first with the Nigerian Tribune this morning. Oh, the Guardian newspaper. Let's begin with the Guardian's newspaper this morning. Guardian newspaper saying how weak power lines vandalism worsen electrician incident. And of course, we'll be taking a look. Before we get into direct perspective to these headlines, I'm being joined by Achibong, legal practitioner who connects with us from Lagos to review some of these headlines. Good to have you join us on the program, Achibong. Okay. All right, for the Guardian's newspaper this morning, how weak power lines and the vandalism worsen electricians incident. You can actually find that on the page 4 and 5, a big story on the Guardian newspaper this morning. Suleja jailbreak, federal government to publish names of 105 fleeing inmates and rearrest 14. And that is coming from the minister regarding the Suleja escape of some prison mate yesterday. CBN licenses unified payment as second provider for PICA services for Nigeria. And all the stories from the Vanguard, the Guardian newspaper this morning. Dana Air refunds passengers as NCAA announces suspension. Achibong, what is your view on the issue of Dana's suspension by the federal government? I understand some persons are reacting to this. I mean, legally.
I'm of the view that the suspension is hasty. I think the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority should have carried out its investigation before suspending Dana Air. Although Dana Air has an history of accidents. In 12 years ago, they were involved in a plane crash that claimed over 153 lives. And then a year ago, there was incidents reported that the tire, caught fire. So that Dana Air has an history of having accidents and all these types of hazards. But then again, accident is something that one cannot prevent 100%, but it can be curtailed. In this particular scenario, we have to investigate to know the root cause of the accident before proceeding to sanction Dana. The issue of planes skidding off the runway is not peculiar to Nigeria. It happens everywhere in the world, even in the US. It happens. So it's not a new thing. I even appreciate the fact that the passengers were quickly evacuated from the aircraft. The response was okay. So I think it was a bit urgent. Although from the reports on news media, it was a directive of the Minister for Aviation.
All right, I'm moving away from that. Let's get still on the last story I'll be taking on the Guardian before adding over to Queen. You lost Rivers government tells resign Wike's loyalists. That I can actually find on page 3 of the Guardian newspaper. I mean, the Rivers crisis is still on. Two commissioners resigned even after the restatement, at the previous one. Do you feel that this is still in a bit of distracting Fubara's performance in Rivers State?
Of course, the political tussle in Rivers State is distracting the incumbent governor, His Excellency Fubara, because the energy is supposed to exert in carrying out projects, enriching the welfare of the people, is being distracted in this political tussle. He's trying to see how he can, organize his cabinet, how he can secure his re-election bid, and then thereby, distracting him from doing the necessary, giving the dividends of democracy to his people. The energy is exerting fighting, appointees, but it should be, executing projects, commissioning projects here and there. His predecessor did not have this kind of prolonged battle, and we saw the level of development that went on in Rivers State. In Rivers State today, we are not hearing of any new projects. All we hear coming out from Rivers State is the fact that one appointee is resigning. They are fighting with the National Assembly and all that. No news of development, which is unlike Rivers State. So I believe His Excellency should realign, and focus in delivering the dividends of democracy. Should leave this fighting with the past. Any appointee that intends to resign should resign. He should make another appointment. In short, if I was the governor, I would reshuffle my whole cabinet and we move on.
All right, back to you, Queen.
Okay, many thanks, Achibong. We'll be moving on to the Vanguard newspaper now. On the front page of the Vanguard newspaper, the big story there is Labour Party, PDP kick as US report says 2023 poll mirrored Nigerians' will. The writer there says reports admitted APC rigged elections, surprised over its conclusion. This is accredited to the Labour Party. We won't allow Nigeria become one-party state, the PDP says. It's welcome, but we don't need external validation, APC presidency, and say votes were not suppressed in Lagos. As regards the Labour Party, PDP kick, and as US report says, 2023 poll mirrored the will of Nigerians. What do you have to say? Do you think in that light, as opposed to what the Labour Party is saying, that the elections were marred with a lot of irregularities, and what the PDP is saying now, that it's always been a one-party system from the previous administration and the administration before this? What are your takes? Did this poll mirror the true reflection of the will of Nigerians?
It is very obvious that the US report did not mirror the will of Nigerians and the Nigerian people, and also PDP cannot claim that it is a one-party system, because PDP has been in power since 1999 to up to 2015. They were the only party in power, so they cannot claim that it is a one-party system. So looking at the US report, I'm surprised that they came to that conclusion, because the premise in which the report is made, the conclusion ought to be different. They admitted the fact that there was voter suppression, that some groups were being marginalized. They even admitted the fact that police officers did not carry out their constitutional duty to try to stop the level of intimidation in polling units and all that. So I'm now surprised that the conclusion is that this mirrored the will of Nigerians. How does this mirror? Is this how elections are being conducted worldwide? It is not the case. Also, we cannot get our validation from external bodies, so to say, and we cannot rely solely on the US report. There are other international organizations that have reported. The European Union has reported that the election was not free and fair. So we cannot rely on the US report alone. There are other recognized and reputable bodies that reported that the election was not free and fair. Also, if you should do your survey, you notice that majority of Nigerians are not happy, or were not happy with the outcome of the election.
Thank you. Now let's go to other stories on the Vanguard newspaper. Just above the nameplate of the Vanguard, we have NNPC, IPMAN resolve logistic challenge as petrol queues persist. We also have our universities promote ethnic bias, Bishop Coker. Now over to Edo Goba, PDP to unveil 200-man campaign council. Obaseki Committee or Mobile supporting Obaseki on development, heads advisory, party will be unstoppable, commends engineers for supporting Obaseki's development. I beg your pardon. Now we have audit reports, just like you rightly put earlier, declared Dana Air unhealthy for operations. I think you've given a bit of, you've raised your concerns as regards that topic. Let's go over to Tinubu Dutch. PM discussed trade as investments rise by $250 million. And this particular story interests me. 109 inmates escape as heavy rains destroy Suleja prisons. I would like to get your take on this as, I and Michael earlier established at the start of the program. Well, we're talking about Nigerians leaving the country. I'm reiterating here that top of it is the high level of insecurity in the country and the security architecture of Nigeria. Nigerians are moving out for better living. Nigerians are moving out because they want their investment, lives and properties to be secured. And as regards security now, we hear, this is sad because it's an unprecedented incident. It can happen anywhere. But don't you think, as regards the inmates, 119 of them that escaped as regard following the downpour that, caused the prison to, be dilapidated, what fault of it? Is it that while we have the prison structures, we should have some form of security to ensure that whenever there's anything like this, an unprecedented incident or disaster like this, there should be men on ground, follow-up teams to ensure. I mean, how was the process? How did these people, how were they able to escape with that much ease? And then the structure of the Nigerian prison, how is it built? These are hardened criminals we're talking about here. So I know the downpour was heavy, but to what extent, can we say that it should be able to break open or cause a release for inmates? Can you walk us through the security architecture of Nigeria and structures, in terms of building structures and, securing and regulating them?
Okay, the Suleja prison issue is an unfortunate issue. When you talk about this, it leads to the maintenance culture in the country, where the structures, facilities are not maintained. You expect this kind of outcome. Also, the issue of prisoners fleeing from. Sorry, please.
We can hear you. Please go on. Prisoners.
The issue of prisoners fleeing from prison it has been a recurrent issue in the country of prison. So till now, the government has not found it necessary to do something about it. In the case of this kind of scenario, the Suleja issue is something that is unpredictable. It can happen anywhere. But then there should be an emergency response team. Where such incidents happen, there should be an emergency response team to immediately swing into action to curtail this kind of, to curtail the issue from further escalating and the inmates from integrating into the society. So what is now the cause of this issue? One is funding. The funding of the Nigerian Correctional Center is very low. So the government should look into funding. Where the correctional center are being funded, it will boost them to carry out infrastructural maintenance and all that. Also, the issue of overcrowding in Nigerian prison is a key issue. Where there is inmates fleeing from prisons because of the crowd. The security personnel cannot fully contain the issue. So overcrowding is also a major issue in Nigerian prisons. So if these issues are tackled head on, then we'll not be having this kind of scenario. I'm also aware that this prison is houses some Boko Haram suspects and people that have actually been convicted also. This poses a greater risk to the society where these people are not properly, they are not all captured. They will go into the society and then continue causing havoc and crimes in the society. So this insecurity, it is not the insecurity is also the reason, like you rightly said, why Nigerians are fleeing the country.
Thank you. Another story here on the Vanguard. Let's just quickly run through the stories that we have on the front page of the Vanguard newspaper. We have Boko Haram sacks military camp in Niger. Mike, it will be the audacity of, Boko Haram's, these bandits for me. And we see that they attack the emir in Zamfara state. At what point have we missed it? I think, Achibong, you just spoken about, insecurity and then the security architecture in the country. What point did we miss this? Like how we hear initially it just used to be school children and all of that, but they've gone from attacking mere civilians to attacking the military. This I think it calls for an urgent reinforcement of the Nigerian military, especially in the northern part of the country. And finally, on the Vanguard, we have Okwama communities shun house committees and investigate hearing. FG states sign, I beg your pardon, accord on economic financial inclusion. We have in sports, minister won't force a coach on the NFF. Our next story would be the Nation newspaper, which Michael Edikan will bring to us.
Big story on the Nation newspaper this morning. Tinubu, I take tough policy decisions in people's interest. The worst of the storms over. Dutch businessmen to invest $250 million in Nigeria. Another story here on the Nation newspaper. Why I came hard on Dana Air by Kayamo. It is explained yesterday, reaction to the suspension of Dana. Big story is still on the Nation newspaper. Manhunt for 109 fleeing prisons inmates. And last story I'm going to take on the Nation newspaper. APC woos a grief under aspirant with all-inclusive government slot. I mean, before we round up on the Nation newspaper, yesterday at Netherlands, the president reacted. I mean, we've actually given an highlight on some of these statements at meeting with some businessmen at Netherlands. He spoke good about the country and the fact that he's taking some tough decisions, admonishing the fact that it's really hard on Nigerians. Achibong, what is your reaction to some of these approaches, some of the policies so far made by the president, that it seems to be very hard on the people? But, I mean, he has said that there's a better future to what we are actually facing today, that describing it to be a short-term pain. The short-term pains to be killing some Nigerians, economically.
The president's policy so far has been suffocating Nigerians. So I wonder if Nigerians will, live long enough to benefit from such policies. Immediately the president, was sworn into office, the first thing he did was to, remove fuel subsidy, and then till date, the price of fuel is very high. Many persons have abandoned their cars and decided to follow public transport. But also we are still hearing from quarters that in fact and in truth that subsidy has not been removed. So we are still wondering why then the hike if subsidy has not been removed. Then also the issue of electricity tariff hike is also another policy of His Excellency the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. But then we are not seeing improvements in the power sector. There is no increase in the supply of electricity to consumers. Most of his policies are, so when he assumed office, he floated the naira also. And then we've seen, you saw how, that affected the economy, the hike in prices and all that. So far, we've not been able to see the benefit of, His Excellency's policy. So I don't know if we'll be good to live long enough to see, but I pray that, in the long run, these are all, for the benefit of Nigeria.
All right, let's get over to the Punch newspaper. Over to you, Quay.
On the front page of the Punch newspaper, we have dollar demand pushes naira to 1,420 naira per dollar. This is sad because as of yesterday, a few days ago, it was about the 1,000. The naira went as low as 1,200 naira. Yeah. So we also have NNPC blames logistics for worsening fuel queues. Also, Senate panel seeks extension of 30 trillion loans probe. The big story on the Punch newspaper says Forex, MTN, Glo others seek NCC nod for tariff hike. The writer there says telcos risk shutdown without tariff increase to offset rising cost. Also, operators await NCC approval as regulators review tariff bands and operating cost. We also see a picture of some sort of the dilapidated facility in Niger State. Federal government may relocate jails as 105 inmates flee Niger prison. It's sad, again, I'll have to reiterate and reinstate that it is sad that when we have issues like these, Michael, it doesn't have to get this bad before we now start to think of a solution, or start to do the necessary, the needful. Already, as you can see from this building on the paper, you see that the building looks dilapidated truly. It shows that there must have been signs, cracks and all that tell you that these buildings need restructuring, renovation, and these are places where we have hardened criminals. I mean, criminals are also humans, so they deserve to, wherever they are, at least be in a fair place, and you can see already that this place is dilapidated. What is most painful is the fact that we have to wait till things get bad, not necessarily bad, from bad to worse, before we now begin to think of, patching things up or bringing a solution to it when, the deed has been done already. It's like, taking medicine after death. So that's quite sad that they have to think of relocating the inmates and maybe possibly restructuring the prison. Akeredolu's ex-deputy Ajayi wins Ondo PDP ticket. Ogun, mother electrocuted, 2 children hospitalized. Now the last story there says Dangote forex shortage delays crude supplies. I think that's for the Punch newspaper.
Yeah, a bit to run up on the Nigerian Tribune newspaper this morning, coming as a big story. Damagun's loyalty to wicked sinking PDP. Clark alleges has asked PDP chair to explain why he did not visit Rivers over lawmakers' defection. That is on the page 2 of the Nigerian Tribune newspaper. UK supports Nigeria's fight against malaria with $1 billion euros. Coming from page 8 of the Nigerian Tribune newspaper this morning. Police detained officers over Lautech shooting, confirmed death of victim. Page 25 of the Nigerian Tribune, Telecoms hints on hiking prices of data services. And of course, 119 inmates escaped as rainstorm destroys Suleja prison. The last story I'm going to take on the Nigerian Tribune newspaper, Okwama, Reps Defense Committee received 23 memorandum promises to resolve the embargo. A round up to the issues in Okwama community. Some effort made by the government to create some level of assistance to the military. But then the community seems not to be cooperating with the military due to the fact that they are scared that some innocent ones will also be unpicked in the course of their very investigations. What has been your concern over the issues of review and the panel set up to investigate the incidents in the Kwamo community? Achibo.
Okay, the panel should, go ahead with its responsibility. It has the mandate to investigate and issue out a report. So the panel should go. Although, like you rightly said, they are facing challenges as regards, community members coming out to give, testimony and all that. But this is a hurdle they have to cross. So they should go to the community, assure them that, nothing is happening. They should, and then also the fear is also stemming from the fact that, previously we see how, the military reacts to issues like this. So going forward, the military should, re-strategize and see how they address issues. You don't use violence for violence, because it dampens the assurances and the confidence of the people. So in this instance, they have to, go to the community, try to, get eyewitness statements and, come to a reasonable conclusion and submit their report. Let Nigerians see what actually happened, because Nigerians are eager to see. We are not supportive of the fact that, our military personnel were killed in such manner.
Yeah.
All right, to round up on the Nigerian Tribune this morning, over 10,000 security agents are mobilized, and as PDP, APC, Labour Party upcapped about Oyo local government election, government declares today half day for workers. And that's a wrap up on the Nigerian Tribune newspaper this morning.
That's where we call it a day. As regards the newspaper review, we'll take a quick break, and when we return, the conversations around Nigeria's economy continues. Please stay with us. We'll be right back.
people have a fine studio here.
But it's time for, of course, stay with us on Global Morning. And of course, we begin the show, in a bit of trying to address some of the events over the week. There's ongoing deliberations on issue of state policing and the fact that this doesn't mean the absence of national police force by some person. It means that a locally controlled police force to coexist with the national police force. And this is the force in state would, of course, for the supervisions, under the supervisions of the Inspector General of Police. Several reactions to this have been joined this morning by a political strategist. Of course, we'll be extracting some of his thoughts and his perspective to the issues of state policing. Good to have you join us on the program this morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Yes.
Good morning.
Look at these issues of state policing. Some are scared that this may be an instrument for state governors to use to control and do whatever they want in some state. What is your fear regarding state policing?
Well, if there is anybody that had that fear, I think I will be their champion. Because just a while ago, I was trying to explain to someone that my issue with the state police is not totally about having independence of security apparatus per state. But I'm worried about how our politicians go around the issue of governance and administration. Some of them, after the political moment and time, they leave governance and administration, which should precede elections and politics, right? And they bring politics into administration. And they try to start using agents of government against internal opponents within the party and external opponents outside their political party. That has been the fear. Nevertheless, if state policing is done with the international standard of state policing or regional policing, it is an effective strategy in security, because security is a local affair. Security is on the ground. If you come to this building and there is an issue, you tend to have more intelligence than somebody coming from outside this building. Do you understand what I'm saying? So if it is done well, I think state policing is a perfect strategy for insecurity. Yes, exactly.
The IG, represented by the IG in the conference that they held, said that Nigeria not ready for state policing.
Not mature. Not mature. So that's where I'm coming from, because there are many things that will determine the availability.
Is it that they are also afraid that state police may be taking over their job because there are issues of where they feel they will become irrelevant in the system and all of that?
Naturally, every man that, for example, if I walk in here and say, my friend, you are no longer going to be in charge of your shoes, there will be this resentment about it. You get fidgety, but nevertheless, he also has a point to what he's saying, in the sense that it's not just about declaring the state police. What are the plans on ground? Because you will not tell me that there is a state in Nigeria that does not have the presence of the police, and there is no law in the country that stops these governors from pathfinding these forces. For example, there is no law that says you can't buy patrol vehicles for these guys. There is no law that says you can't buy communication gadgets for these guys. If governors can take ownership, really, of the police affairs, it's the same thing. So the IG, has its own view about this. Nevertheless, I don't think the present administration wants to be interested in any other view aside creating the state police.
So it's a wake up. When you look at the interference from IG and to state, sometimes House of Assembly are being invaded by the other IG, where governors are sometimes they're harmless in a bid to trying to arrest some political tensions in the state. We've actually found those incidences. For instance, in Akwa Ibom 2019 election, we saw some the police force not responding to the governors and all of this. Do you feel that the issues of sending powers from the federal has made so far giving police to do extra, not really obeying the
that's the problem now. Watch. There is this recklessness in governance and in administration. That's what I'm talking about. So who told you that when you have state police and the House of Assembly want to impeach the governor, that's when you know that the governor is the grand commander now. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's not about who is controlling. It's about what are you doing with the control? Are you abusing the office? If the governors will abuse state police, it's the same thing as federal government also abusing police at state levels. Governors, so many of them don't have regard for the local government apparatus in governance. Is it not part of abuse also?
We've seen
so many of them
elections, one party wins.
Thank you very much.
All the elections.
And some don't even conduct elections. Some stay a double tenure of 8 years, and for once will not conduct any election for the local government. They also suppress it, and we shouldn't forget that local government is part of the governing system of administration of democracy. But they have looked down so much on it. So who told you that when you give them state police, that they won't use the force against the local government levels and even within the state? How are we sure about that?
I mean, several fears to that. Issues of also payment, I mean, workers and all of that. Some states are poor. I mean, when you look at the issues of allocations in Nigeria, and there's also the fear of how some states can be able to manage more workers under their covers to pay. When we actually find some workers are not being paid, I mean, civil service.
No, when state police happens, I think the basic thing is that the budget for police will now be subdivided down to states. Probably the remunerations could now go down to states, depending on the number of officers and men that you have. Yeah, but again, as I said, it's about doing it well. If you do it well, we'll get good results. If we are honest with ourselves, there is no reason why any state that has a governor who is pulling a 15, 16, 17 vehicle convoy cannot pay salary. If you can't pay salary, why are you driving a 17 vehicle convoy? Do you understand? So governors should take responsibility of these things. And if you know you can't pay salary, step aside so that someone that can pay salary will come in. There are a lot of things that you can use to generate funds for your state if you really are interested in helping your state. And all these political complaints that go around, I mean, they don't tell us these things before they get in. It's only when they get in that we hear that they can't pay because they are broke. But before they come in, they tell us that they can take care of everything at once.
I mean, when you understand the fact that the state governors are the chief security officers of the particular state, and we find some of these insecurities, when you look at Zamfara, when we hear of some of these stories coming out, even the issues of Chibok girls are still in captivity up to right now. What has been the effort and the corporations of the establishment of some police quarters in the respective state that we have been having? Because sometimes you go to some communities, I mean, you go to some local government, they do not have well-mobilized security personnel right there from the IG. Do you feel that with the recruitment of state policing, we may have more numbers to combat the issues of crimes in the state?
Well, fundamentally, the Nigerian police generally is understaffed. Generally, they are underpaid.
They cannot combat the crimes you have.
No, we don't have enough police officers
on
well ground. When you say well-funded, it is a relative statement. Well-funded in what aspect? Again, we have about 200,000 to 250,000 police officers. You ask yourself how many are attached to VIPs in escorts and convoys and all those stuff. Then the ones that are remaining, how many, in the civilized world, it should be 10 persons or maximum 15, 20 persons to one police officer. So if you subdivide that, you find out that Nigeria needs at least 1 million police officers, having a population of over 200 million. But in our case, we are totally understaffed. And again, the management of the police force might not have done so perfectly in organizing the real act of policing. And again, this whole, even with the little that we have our politicians and our business rich people taking more of our police officers for private escort. No, that's wrong. They should be a private guards company and private security companies that handle your private security, not using Nigerian police force to take care of your private security. That's also what they should be looking at, to know if we can recall as much as we can from these guys back to base and utilize them for the general public.
Are you also saying that if state policing come to pass, we will not also have local government chairmen and some commissioners recruiting more for themselves and also still undermine it? Because sometimes in Nigeria we have fantastic ideas, but at the end of the day,
exactly. That's what I'm, when I said that the problem is not having command by the governors or not having command by the governors, that the problem is how to manage the command, how to manage the power that they have gathered to themselves, how to manage the police. If you mesmerize the state police, it will be futile. The exercise and activities of it will be useless. If governors take it and use them for their own political management, it will be messed up again, and we'll now go back to, it's the implementation that is the problem. There's nothing wrong with the present police. There's nothing wrong with it. There is also nothing wrong with state policing. Perfect idea, perfect strategy for fighting insecurity. But the problem is the utilization. Are they going to keep to the laws that govern those things, or are they going to mess it up the way they are now? I mean, anybody that has a little money can walk anywhere, and you see him with a mobile police officer guiding him, and you ask yourself, at times we've even had records of people who we know for fraudulent acts, and yet the police is all around them. Do you understand what I'm saying? So if the proper idea of policing is not initiated, if the orientation of policing is not initiated in the minds of both the officers and the political class, we will go around the same circles. If we are getting state police for governor to determine who goes with police escort, then we see that the interference is too much. It is too much. Until we divide these interferences and know that maybe when there is a state police within the state of a governor and he says, no, I'm sorry, I can't give them order to follow you. If you need security, go get private security. Then we will see that there is reality in it. But if we are not getting it, then we will go around same circles again.
Right. We'll take some two perspectives side by side. First, it's about unemployment. We understand what is giving rise to the insecurity, and we understand that some of these things are issues of hunger, high cost of hunger and living and all of that in the country. And running to fix state policing and leaving the issues of employment, creating a viable environment for entrepreneurs and SMEs to strive. Do you feel that is a misplaced priorities as well?
Well, no, these things go side by side. Government does not have one look. In government, you may carry about 7, 8 phases and faces to attack the wholesomeness of governance. So it's an independent conversation. Unemployment is not something government can handle directly. And most times they have refused to tell themselves the truth about this. That's why politicians go to tell you that they will create jobs. No, you can't. What do you want to do to create the job? The only thing you can do is an indirect creation of an environment where entrepreneurs can walk in and employ people. But again, the same government at times go behind to sabotage the process. Do you know how many companies that left Nigeria within the last 10 years? Whenever they are going, they are throwing out people back to the street. And these people are frustrated, and insecurity will rise. You know, there is this Damiano effect that happens in governance. Hunger brings insecurity. Insecurity itself even brings unemployment. Unemployment brings unrest. Unrest brings... These things keep going round. So until you take a holistic management of those things, we will also now find ourselves in the same circle with them. So if government truly will battle the issue of unemployment by creating an enabling environment for entrepreneurs, encouraging them to produce more, to employ people more, and not harass them with all forms of taxes and levies and all those stuff, those guys can do well and take people out from the street and employ them. But until that, we will be fighting insecurity. And one horrible thing about insecurity is that some of them are economically viable. For example, kidnap. These young boys who know that when they work for you for 10 years, they can never make 10 million because their monthlies are less than 100,000. But in one kidnap that is successful.
It's a lucrative business now.
Yeah, of course. So they are now employing themselves. That's what we call negative employment. They are now doing the negative employment for themselves. They employ themselves within the crime environment and pay themselves. So it's also another big deal to reorientate these ones that leave your 10 million naira venture and come, let me pay you 50,000. It will not sound very well. So that's why you need to stampede them in security while you are creating an environment, because again, every year we have chunk of young people coming out from secondary schools. We have the chunk of them coming out from the universities, and this unemployment keeps increasing, and as it goes higher and they are not getting jobs, they are employing themselves in crimes. So while we are fighting this, we should not also neglect this. Fortunately, government has a lot of managing institutions that can handle these issues independently. All they need to do is to be serious in fighting insecurity, while they are also serious in also trying to create. There's a Ministry for Labor and Employment. They should generate ideas on how to get these people sorted out, while it is also having an effect on insecurity. And until then, the two will naturally coexist. Once this one is here, this one will be here. And once this one is here, this one will be here. I know about some 2-3 factories just in Niger State here. They had to shut down because each time their workers come to the factory, they are kidnapped. And the management keeps paying ransom, and at the time they say, we can no longer pay. They shut down. So you see, they've thrown back almost 50 guys back to the streets of unemployment.
It's actually very worrisome.
No, of course it is.
Yeah, take a look at the issue of intelligence gathering. I mean, you are trying to create more state policy to combat insecurity. Some persons are arguing that in the world of technology that we are actually dispensing, a few guys can actually do the job. I mean, we actually invested so much to get some ICT tools to help some of our already existing personnel to combat. Because when you look at issues, for instance, in our Okwama communities invasion, how were the community, I mean, how were these people able to manage themselves, gather to attack some of these soldiers that were going there? What happens to the place of intelligence? I mean, information intelligence. There are mechanisms on how some of these things are being operated. Do you feel that they should rather also see a way of trying to bring more of our ICT, to tackle the issue of insecurity, or still having more workforce recruited, like the state policing idea will combat the issues that we already facing?
Well, again, ICT will not arrest a criminal for you. ICT can only give you intelligence. ICT can only dictate what's happening here. ICT can only show clear evidence of what happened, you know, in terms of investigations. But you also need the physical manpower to carry out some of the operations. ICT will not shoot for you. Do you understand? It's only in war zones that technology can have a missile. And I don't think our crime is you can't be looking for a pickpocket with with missile bombs. Do you understand? So these are issues of petty crimes. Will require the human approach of it. You know, you need personnel. You need humans to interrogate. You need humans to make arrests. You also need humans to pick up the intelligence gathered by the ICT and make up his own investigations from it. So while we are also advancing in ICT, which is very perfect, like having body cameras for our police officers and having drone coverages of areas that are, you know, those ones are perfect. But again, you need people to implement. Somebody actually needs to operate the ICT stuff also. So it's good to, while you are talking ICT, we also need the human input. Yeah, personnel, yeah.
All right. Are you afraid of issues of witch hunting? I mean, we understand that some local police, some local security personnel, sometimes because of they're very familiar with the community, with the neighbors and all of that, so sometimes they may use that forms of an attack. I mean, some form of wrong implications to all of these.
Wrong
be on the right side.
No, now what wrong implication has always been there. And as I said, these things have pros and cons. There is no express way to having state policing or security perfect. But you also need to check. That's why you have checks and balances. That's why you have investigation. And if we are honest with it, if someone is wrongly accused, if you go into thorough investigation, you may find out that this person has been wrongly accused and discharge the person for whatever crime he or she has been accused.
Because harassment has always been on the high side within the security personnel. You see victimizations of young people, and the NSAS protest was also due to the rise of this. Don't you feel that of these?
No. That is because there is a reckless approach to this. And if this recklessness goes down to the local level, it will continue. You can't stop it until there is a reorientation of this police or security apparatus. Even in the villages, some vigilant group guys are now lords in their communities. And when you are not in consonance with what they want, they put allegations on you and take you out. It's all over the place. It's not like it's new. It's not going to be new. The harassment is not new. It has always been there. So until there is a placed order on how things should be, we may end up having the same at our local levels also.
All right. I've been concerned about cooperation. Sometimes you understand that these things are not rocket science. You need the cooperation of the people to combat insecurity. And when you understand that sometimes information, some family may hold some information and all of that, do you feel that Nigerians are not in any way supporting the security personnel enough?
No, they are. But again,
responses.
Yeah, you won't blame them. Okay, I'll give you an instance. Some 2 weeks ago, I was driving through the central area here in Abuja. So I saw a guy who had just run over a ramp and apparently was still stiff on the steering. Of course, that guy was dying. And I had to start waving down people. And all of us gathered, nobody agreed to touch the guy until I saw a policeman. I said, please come help me. I can't drive 2 vehicles. Drive this guy's car while I follow you. Let's take him to the hospital. He's still alive. He's not yet dead. But what if that policeman was not there? Probably that guy would have passed out because nobody was willing to help me. Nobody wanted to touch the man. People are afraid. What if he dies? I will not go to police and start explaining what I don't know. So that fear is already there in people. What if I give the information that this young man is a criminal and he's arrested today, and after 1 week, he comes out to tell us, oh, you people went to report. It has happened in many places, of course, you know. When they had the prison break in Imo State, one of the stupid prisoners had gone back to the family that reported him to police to attack them. But unfortunately for him, the family was ready for him, so they killed him on the spot. But imagine that the family was a weak one. Probably that guy would have murdered them in cold blood. So it's the same thing. People are afraid to give information because they are not sure that they will be protected. They are not sure that the information they are giving will be protected. They are not even sure that the information they are giving will be utilized. And once information doesn't go to the wrong channel, it will boomerang. And when it boomerangs, it's horrible. Imagine you telling the police that this guy is a murderer, and police doesn't arrest the guy, and the guy knows that you are the one that told the police that he's a murderer. Of course, you are the next victim. So you won't blame them when they are afraid. It is on the shoulders of the security agents to assure them that once you give us this information, we will use it well, and we promise that the culprits will be dealt with severely. People can now comfortably say, oh, this guy goes out very late in the night, comes back very early in the morning. I think he's not doing something right, and police will quietly investigate. And one of the issues that we have in the country is that most times our security personnel don't even investigate a case; they just jump into it, arrest everybody, and at the end of the day, evidences and stuff are disbursed, and they don't know how to continue, and they end up releasing everybody because they can't have a hold on the evidences, maybe bordering over a particular crime.
Big issues, and of course, in as much as this is desirable, of course, controversies will always speak out the fact that if we are ready, to actually get and operate a state policy. We'll go on a quick break right now. Once we return, we'll wrap it up on the issues regarding the issues of states policing. What should happen if this comes to stay? Do stay with us. We'll be right back. How many times for us to stay with us here on Global Morning, where we're taking a look at a spotlight on the proposal state police. What are the issues that must be dealt with before this implementation? Quite a lot of strategies, of course, perspective given by my guests on the program. As we begin to wrap up the show, what is the generality of fear? I know you've actually given some perspective to this. If this really come to stay, would this really help us away from the fact that it has some deficiencies?
It will help us. at least investigations will have a closer range. You know, you don't need to report to the commissioner, that report to the AIG, that report to the DIG, that will now report to the IG. You know, that bureaucratic long rope has been shortened, so you can commence and end cases within a short while. If cases happen within a locality, it's easy to manage it and know what happened. Investigations can be faster. Do you understand? And that is the good side of it. And again, police officers will begin to get used to their terrain and know people around them. It's, you know, county police people in batches. So it's easier to handle in sub-units than to handle as a whole at once. So it's a good thing, but the fear is I hope that we don't continue policing the way we are doing it, because if we commence it as it has been now, it may not turn out to be a good idea. But if we do it well, then it's a perfect strategy to combat
and to a political class, what's the message regarding these issues? Because they are pushing so hard.
The political class should, if they are fair to people they govern, should desist from their interest in certain issues. For example, what is your interest? The police should run independent so they can do their job. But when you are seeking control and interference and manipulations of these systems, you end up having them to be your own personal attack dogs. You know, when anybody is not coming your way, you can unleash. But until there is this mentality of independence, then the police may not get it right. But once we have that independent mindset of policing, investigations can go on without interferences, so that no matter whose ox is God, the procedure continues.
I mean, one last one. It seems that politics is very lucrative, that the fact that this actually empowers the operations of this illegality, because sometimes these guys are the ones that are being used during elections to snatch boxes and all of that. We understand the approaches that we've been having during elections. Do you feel that, political office should be, a level of lucrativeness must be reduced so that we can actually not face these issues of interfering with our policing?
Well, somehow, if indeed politics stops being a lucrative business, I think we are going to now get a crop of passionate leaders. So many are there because of the financial budgeting that they have in mind. And until we make it not very appetizing for them, we will keep having the crop of politicians we have who want to forcefully take things, you know, because they know the financial gains in these things. But when you make politics something that you don't make money from, a lot of people will run away from it and go get themselves into genuine businesses to make money. But until then, you see a flock of people coming into politics because of the financial gain.
Many thanks, Honorable Onyi Omejiribo, a political strategist, for joining us on the program this morning on Global Morning, adding perspective to the issues of state policing. And of course, several concerns that Nigerians are having about this program. Of course, it might be a welcome development, but interference may actually not in any way give it the light of the day. But we just hope for the best, because this is desirable amongst others issues that we've been having in the states, and of course the national security to combat crimes and others in our society. Many thanks for joining us on the program today. Of course, we'll look forward to having you more on the program. We'll go on a quick break right now. Once we return, we'll take a look at another perspective and issues here on the program. To stay with us. Now, the Kaduna State House of Assembly has written to the State Ministry of Finance demanding details of financial transactions under former Governor Nasir El-Rufai's administration between 2015 and 2023. This was in connection with the State Assembly's probe of all finances, loans, and contract projects awarded under El-Rufai's administration. The probe by the State Assembly comes weeks after the incumbent governor of Kaduna State, Umar Sani, lamented that El-Rufai left him a huge debt profile. Sani spoke during a meeting in a town hall in Kaduna when he said he inherited a lean treasury, adding that he could not pay workers' salaries. Joining me to discuss the issues in Kaduna and, of course, the probe by the House of Assembly is Dr. Ibrahim Aminu, of course, a former ADC candidate here in the last governorship elections, of course, a political strategist and developer, of course, joining us on the program this morning to discuss issues of Kaduna. Good to have you, Dr. John, on the program.
Good morning.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Take a look at what is happening in Kaduna. Kaduna is one of the highest located, some of the located states we have in this country. One would have been expecting that it's an excuse for a governor to say he cannot pay salaries because he's actually had a low treasury account from El-Rufai's government. What has been your assessment over the issues coming from Kaduna so far?
Thank you very much. What I will say is that number one is that there is lack of capacity in the governance from the Kaduna present governor and his aides. I didn't see how a certain governor can say that he cannot be able to pay salaries. Number one, Kaduna is one of the states that has inherited a lot of debts since during the military. And any governor that comes continue to accumulate, continue to take loan to finance the development of that state. What I expected from Senator Uba is that he should have some financial consultants, he should have some financial engineers who can come and look and take him out of this mess and these woods. And I don't see any reason of this problem because it's yielding nothing. And it will produce nothing, it will only waste time, and it will only take out of a blame. Somebody is shifting the blame to another person, which is unnecessary. The most important is that how do you re-engineer the financial capacity of that state? What can you be able to do? What can you be able to achieve within a short, medium, and long term? And how can you put that so that you know that you can be able to pay all this, if possible, negotiate with these people who you have collected the loan, which the state have collected the loan. Call them. This is my problem. If I continue like this, I cannot be able to this. Reschedule some of these debts. After rescheduling some of these debts, because they have to understand, if you cannot pay, you cannot pay. So there is a lot of debt management that he has to do. There is a lot of financial re-engineering that he has to do. There are a lot of grants all over the world that we are not accessing in Nigeria, that the money is there lying. He can access all these kind of things that for his developmental project. And the little money that has left, he can continue to be able to pay salaries and maybe find out a way of solving all the financial issue. But is the problem of El-Rufai yielding him? Is the problem of El-Rufai going to pay the salaries of the staff? Even now, if you prove El-Rufai and you find out that, yes, the money he has spent, how much time will you waste it? How much money will you waste it? Because improving all these things, money must be spent. So you wasted time, you wasted money unnecessarily. What they should have done is that they should try to see that money, they use it in trying to see how will they move the state forward.
Other than giving excuses.
Because any governor, to me, any person that gives excuses,
It wasn't ready for the job.
Wasn't ready and doesn't have the capacity. To be frank, you can't give me a governor today, even if the state,
even in the worst state.
In the worst state, and you tell me that, I will come and tell you that, no, I don't have money. Government is a continuous process.
So every state are receiving allocations every month.
Not
only allocations,
even this time.
revenue.
Even this time they receive it. During this time, during this present administration, they receive a lot of money, more than in the previous. There was no time that the state got money like this time. And there are so many things you can be able to do. We don't have time here, and this is not a place that we can discuss all this.
Well, go ahead. You may go ahead to discuss. I mean, do you feel that this is a political clash between the governor and El-Rufai? Because El-Rufai did so much to bring him to power. And this may look as if it's just the issues of a River State where Fubara is actually having a clash with Wike.
No, it's two different issues. In Rivers, there is a godfather that say, I need so percentage. In Kaduna, it's a different issue. I can say maybe some disagreement, or maybe because it has not come. Oba has never told us that El-Rufai is looking for certain percentage. What he is saying is that he has left a lot of debts for him that he cannot be able to perform. So I wonder, as a governor, as a government of a state, that you say that you cannot perform. Based on what? It's a government. Government goes, government come. It's a continuous process forever.
Because in Abia State, I mean, Alex Otti is doing tremendously well, even when he's from the Labour Party against the PDP. One would have expected him to give excuse more.
That is what we are saying, because it's governance. Look at the United States. It's the highest debtor. Highest debtor in the world. Did you ever see one of the president complaining, saying that it's a continuous, governance is a continuous process. And you should know that there are a lot of financial engineering that you have to do. So if you say you are waiting for the grant to come from the center, then you are not fit, because yes, you will stay. And that is what El-Rufai did. What he did, he see that he want to do a lot of development in the state, but frankly speaking, there is no money. If you go, a lot of the roads that El-Rufai touched, they are built in the 60s. They are built in the 60s. All the roads inside Kaduna, they are built in the 60s.
So there was no much road done by El-Rufai?
Eh?
There was no more road construction done by El-Rufai in its administration?
No. What I'm saying, all the roads done by El-Rufai, they were done formally, they were done since in the 60s.
So you only maintain them?
So no maintenance even. All the government that come, they leave, they come, nothing there. Okay. But he tried to see that he has improved the infrastructure. And there was nobody, even the enemy of El-Rufai, if you go to Kaduna, you know that there is an improvement there is a lot of improvement of the infrastructure in the state, especially in the capital city of Kaduna. There are a lot, people who are even wondering where and how he is getting the money. So
you are saying that this money that he borrowed, he actually invested in Kaduna. It wasn't for his personal gain.
No. You see, it's good to investigate. When they investigate, they will know where this money went. You know, what El-Rufai did, this loan that he collected, he said that is for education. And that is why a lot of governors, since 1999 to date, they don't want to go to education. Education is only one state that I have seen that went to education is Osun, that almost they consume all the money they are getting in education. Any money that comes, it is education that consumes the money. Development of education is it's not easy, and the needs is so huge. If you want to develop your people in the Nigerian context, this is a sector that has been left for a long period of time. And from what El-Rufai has said, he has left a legacy in FCT. The same thing, whether you like it or not, whether you like El-Rufai or you hate him, you can't ignore his developmental of educational sector in FCT. Because the public schools are competing, the students of the public school are competing with anybody in the private sector. So you can see that he has done well here, and that is what he wanted to repeat in Kaduna. And spending on education requires a lot of money, requires a lot of innovations, requires a lot of sacrifices, because we have neglected that sector completely for decades. And for you to bring it back to its normal situation, accepted situation, accepted standard, you need to spend a lot. And this education will continue to consume. And it's a sector that is something that you cannot see in the next 4 years, in the next 8 years. It will take like 10 to 20 years before these things will start to manifest, to see the result of what you are doing. And that is what El-Rufai said he has done. It's good. We didn't say they shouldn't investigate, but at the end, even if they investigated, are they going to get the funds?
You will charge him to court.
If you charge him to court, what is the gain? You wasted your time. You have not gotten the money. Then what are you going to do? The money has gone. That is what we are talking of capacity. Any governor that comes should foot line. Even the president that comes should foot line. No blame. See, what are you going to do? You are elected and you make promises. Just look within your capacity.
Available resources.
Yes. And if you cannot do, ask experts, consultants, come and help me. How and where do I get these resources? There are resources that how I wish I am the governor of Kaduna State. I won't ask anybody. I will continue to source money internationally. I will continue to source money nationally. There are a lot of money that he can use in Nigeria. There are a lot of money that is there wasted, and he has his own grants. And there are a lot of things, internal generated revenue, that he can create to make things workable for him. But everybody has his own initiative. Everybody has his own the way he thinks he wanted to govern his state.
Away from the issue, let's beam a light on El-Rufai. There's several, will there be an allegation that is a religious bigot where people of South Kaduna were underdeveloped during his administration in Kaduna, that more of all those things that were not in any way taken into consideration, that Christians are in Kaduna and all of that. So sometimes it makes that some part of Kaduna not to applaud whatever initiative that he did in Kaduna State. What has been your assessment towards Israeli religious performance when you understand that we have Christians, we have Muslims, predominantly in Kaduna State?
You see, Kaduna politics is a special, and it always take a national coverage. When you see, when PDP took the administration in 1999, the population, everybody knows the population of Southern Kaduna. Most of their politics is on papers, is on, you see that most of it is about treat, is about, well, in short, when El-Rufai came, he is part of the whole team. He knows the whole team. He knows the game. He was in PDP. And when he came, these people were predominantly PDP. And he came and won under APC. And it is natural you get these people who are in the opposite to oppose you. When you look at it, there was a political clash between APC and PDP. Majority in the Southern Kaduna voted for PDP. And he is APC. And it is natural, people that work with you, they should participate in the governance. It's not by force that you didn't work for me. You didn't go with me. You didn't believe in me. And just you are imposing me that, yes, I must go along with you. If you look, what of other Northern Kaduna, part of Northern Kaduna, what will you say? Even Zaria, where the El-Rufai came, what did he do for Zaria? Because there is always little resources, and what are, like now, what is the, let me ask you, what is the Southern Kaduna saying? What are they saying? What did El-Rufai did to them? No, I'm asking you.
They said he deprived them of some positions and all of that in his cabinet, and some of his, some projects so far.
No.
We're not equally shared.
No. There was his deputy governor is always from Southern Kaduna. Cabinets are represented from there. People who are represented. You see, forget about it. Is when you know Kaduna politics, you will understand. What I'm trying to say is that, how will he deprive them? The Constitution has made it, and he didn't, and he has selected a lot of people. It's people that work for me. You cannot say you are in PDP that I must take you. It's not done. Everywhere there is nowhere. And even if you talk about that, even in the same local government, where PDP is, people are saying they are marginalized. The same PDP. So it's everywhere you find out that people will always cry saying they are marginalized. Later on, APC understand that there is always a rigging side. They were being overpopulated. He knows. That is where the rigging is always taking place. And he later caught all those places that they used to do the rigging. All these artificial polling boats that they don't exist. People doesn't exist. He knows the population. He was in PDP. That is what I'm trying to tell you. He knows what they are doing there. So when he was in power, he caught all the places that he knows that. That is their cry. And everybody, that is why we agree. Politics is about number. Somebody cannot say you caught him. If you caught him, election is coming. If you have the number, you vote him out. If you cannot vote out, you become a minority.
You join the winning team.
That is about politics. Politics is you follow who you think that you can be able, you are safe.
All right. I mean, thank you for insight between the APC and PDP. Taking a look at El-Rufai on the spotlight, some of these allegations by the state, the probing as the investigation is ongoing. Do you feel that he's exonerated from all of this thing, that his hands are very clean from your assessment, and that he might not find one thing or the other to be able to have an against him? Because away from the fact that this is a welcome development, in different states, we find it very hard for the House of Assembly to begin exercise like this. Sometimes because they feel that this was the man that bought form for them and brought them to power. Because if you look at the House of Assembly, one way or the other, they may actually have some persons that El-Rufai, supported or gave them tickets to be in the House. But coming down from the boldness or the courage to confront the issue as it is today, is it on the right direction? And El-Rufai, do you feel he should be exonerated from some of these allegations that are brought before him?
That is what I have said. We are all humans. There is nobody that is 100% perfect. El-Rufai must have erred in some places and must have done good in some places. And El-Rufai it's not a saint that we can say he's free from some financial misappropriations. Proving is good. This proving will strengthen the governance so that people should know that even when they leave office, there is going to be some people who will come and prove them.
This is what Kogista cannot do. What Kaduna are doing?
No. Well, that's what I want you to understand. In every state, they have their culture. They have their culture. And they have the way they do their politics. And you have to respect it. The way Kogi politics is, it's different completely from Kaduna. So it can be proof. And very soon you will see things will develop. Because as I'm talking now, I learned yesterday that the tribunal has been transferred from Kogi to Abuja. And so there are going to be so many. Politics is about deals. It's about interests. So so let me not debate from it. What I'm saying is that El-Rufai can be proof. I didn't say he should not be proof. I didn't say he is free. I didn't work with him. I'm not there when he did. But what I am trying to say is that there are things that can give results, can be beneficial. But what if it comes to aid me, to assist me, and move the state forward? And as he proved El-Rufai, somebody is coming also to prove him, because all this proof, we didn't see what the result. There is no result.
Many thanks, Dr. Ibrahim Aminu, for your insights on the issues from Kaduna, the probing exercise by the House of Assembly in a bid to get some financial records of the former governor El-Rufai, and of course several questions to be answered by RIFA. This is a call by the House of Assembly to getting some of these financial transaction details under his administration between 2015 to 2023. He's actually against issues of finances and loans and contract projects that were awarded under the RIFA administration. And just as Dr. Ibrahim has said, it is a move in the right direction. Of course, we're expecting that this will also be a message to other governors to be able to see and do what is right. But that might not be an excuse of performance. It might be also a take to also do what you can do in your bid and now leave the rest to others. I mean, because government is actually a continuation. No one knows it all, but then we can be able to track some transparency and independency of the institution that runs government. Checks and balances must be upheld. The issues of executive, judiciary, and the legislature must be what comes to play. And that's the size we'll be having here on the discussion of Kaduna Assembly. Many thanks, Doctor, for joining us this morning, for your insight and contribution to the affairs of Kaduna. We look forward to see you again on the program. And that's the size of a Global Morning program here on live on Global Television. My name is Deacon Michael. Many thanks for watching. See you again.